You know, it's so easy to live in fear of change, of the state of the world, of our own mortality. But truly, that's no way to live. The key is finding your why. What is so important to you that it makes you brave, makes you willing to try, to fight? Our next guest has made a name for herself as a warrior, so much so she wrote a book about it. We're talking with Michigan's Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, about her new book, The Purposeful Warrior, Standing Up for What's Right When the Stakes Are High. Secretary Benson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the why. Why did you decide to write this book?
Well, you know, it started as a way to talk about the work that I'd done in 2020 to protect our election results against this unprecedented effort to try to overturn them. And it really evolved, though, into a call to action for us all to find ways to be warriors for ourselves, for our communities, for the people we love, no matter what side of the political spectrum you find yourself on, or whether you don't care about politics at all. There's a path for you to make a difference in your world and stand up for yourself against those who may try to take away your voice. And so this book is really about how we all can be strong and brave no matter what our path is, and really find and hone our purpose to be warriors in furtherance of that purpose.
Wonderful. And it talks a lot about your history and what led you to where you are today. I really enjoyed, hearing about you were 20 years old and you kind of left everything that everyone wanted you to do and to go for yourself, to fight for people and make change. Let's talk a little bit about that and really how your growth happened from there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the essences of the book, the central message is that no one has the power to define you and what you want to do in this world. Only you have that power. And so there's so many folks, whether it's our bosses or our parents or family members or our loved ones, who may try to define what they feel we should be doing with our lives, but only you have the power to chart that path. And so the book starts with me talking about how I chose to go to Alabama to start my career investigating hate groups and extremist organizations out of college. And it was quite an unconventional decision, but it was something that I wanted to do because I wanted to learn about that part of the country. I wanted to learn about the civil rights movement. So I chose that for myself. And the story involved is how, sometimes that means we have to stand up to people we love and we care about, so that we can hold on to our own purpose and define ourselves no matter what others' expectations might be for us.
Absolutely. And that background in terrorism and extremist groups kind of comes full circle almost to today, because I feel, you have been attacked quite a bit. Our government, many people are under attack. Let's talk about that and kind of how your job continues to be the same as it was back then.
Well, my North Star is the people, making sure government works for everyone, that people coming into the Secretary of State office can have a good experience, no matter where they live or who they vote for or what their beliefs may be. Everyone deserves a government that makes your life easier and saves you time and saves you money. So I am a warrior for that, as well as making sure our democracy works for everyone, because our vote is our way to hold people accountable in power. Our vote is our way to have our values manifested in the political arena. So to me, my focus has always been on, and my North Star has always been on, am I pound for pound being mission driven at making other people's lives better? And in the book, I also talk about how we can find that mission for ourselves and surround ourselves with supporters and advisors and families and others who can help us further that mission. And it's always best when the mission, however you define it, is also focused on helping others, making their life a little bit easier so that this earth is a little bit better for having walked on it.
Absolutely. And obviously you have a big history of service behind you. And that might be hard for some people to relate to. But, you use other examples. You talk about 30 marathons. Obviously, not many people can relate to that. But I think biting off little bits of that. Talk about how this book and how it can resonate with everyone.
Well, exactly as you say, biting off little bit pieces of large things, or how we can accomplish things that we may not have thought was possible. So my hope is for people to read this book who may think something is impossible for them, that they can see it really is possible. When I was pregnant and had qualified to run the Boston Marathon, I thought it was not possible to run a marathon while pregnant. And then I read about someone else who had done it, and I thought, maybe I could try this too. And so one step in front of the other, I did it one piece at a time. And then ultimately on the other side of it, was able to run this full marathon, 8 months pregnant, one of the few women in history to do it. And I thought, wow, I never thought I could have done that, but I did it. And there's so many things in our life that we don't think perhaps are for us or that we could achieve or are possible. But my message is, by believing in yourself and taking things one step at a time, you never know what can be possible. And at the start of every marathon, I think, can I really do this? And sure enough, one foot in front of the other, I get to the other side. And that's a lesson, I think, for all of us, to know we can do so much more than maybe we believe that we are capable of when we start out on the journey.
Yeah, it's an amazing message. I'm thoroughly enjoying the book. And you are now on tour, kind of taking this on the road. You're in West Michigan. You're headed up north. If people want to catch you and talk to you about it, there are some opportunities to do so.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago this weekend at the Humanities Festival, speaking at the Chicago History Museum on Sunday, in Traverse City next week. We've had great events in Grand Rapids, in Ann Arbor, and Detroit. And you could, buy this at Schuler's bookstore. There's signed copies available if you want to head over there and buy your copy, or it's available on audio as well. And come to one of these events and let me know what you're thinking of these stories and if they're helping you find your purpose and your warrior spirit.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much for putting this book out there for all of us to learn from. You want to learn more about Secretary Benson, her next steps, jocelynbenson.com. And there's a couple of the events there on your screen, up in Petoskey at McLean and Incan, and at Traverse City at the National Writers Series. We'll be right back.